गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। चिन्मयं व्यापि यत्सर्वं त्रैलोक्यं सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। वसुदेवसुतं देवं तं सचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। भवानी शंकरौ वन्दे श्रद्धा विश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धाः स्वान्तस्थमीश्वरम्। हरिः ओम्। सर्वं विष्णुं सकलं विष्णुं सर्वं विष्णुं सकलं विष्णुं अच्छं विष्णुं स्वच्छं विष्णुं अच्छं विष्णुं स्वच्छं विष्णुं सर्वं विष्णुं सकलं विष्णुं सर्वं विष्णुं सकलं विष्णुं अच्छं विष्णुं स्वच्छं विष्णुं विश्वं विष्णुं विषयं विष्णुं विश्वं विष्णुं विषयं विष्णुं आदिविष्णुं उपाधिविष्णुं आदिविष्णुं उपाधिविष्णुं आदिविष्णुं उपाधिविष्णुं सर्वं विष्णुं सकलं विष्णुं जगद्विष्णुं जीवं विष्णुं जगद्विष्णुं जीवं विष्णुं सदा विष्णुं सर्वदा विष्णुं सदा विष्णुं सर्वदा विष्णुं जगद्विष्णुं जीवं विष्णुं सदा विष्णुं सर्वदा विष्णुं सदा विष्णुं सर्वदा विष्णुं सर्वं विष्णुं सकलं विष्णुं सर्वं विष्णुं सकलं विष्णुं सकलं विष्णुं सकलं विष्णुं यस्मिन् ज्ञाने भवेत् सर्वं विज्ञातं परमात्मनि तं वन्दे नित्यविज्ञानम् आनन्दमजमव्ययम् आनन्दमजमव्ययम् यदज्ञानादभूद्वैतम् ज्ञाते यस्मिन्निवर्तते रज्जुसर्पवदत्यन्तम् तं वन्दे पुरुषोत्तमम् तं वन्दे पुरुषोत्तमम् यस्योपदेशदीधित्या चिदात्मानः प्रकाशते नमः सद्गुरवे तस्मै स्वाविद्याध्वान्तभानवे स्वाविद्याध्वान्तभानवे हरिः ओम। In the absolute reality, there are no events. There are no beginnings. There are no endings. Only in the relative level, there are beginnings and endings. There are events, there are happenings, there are incidents. Because the creative power of Maya, which projects itself onto divinity and further projects so many things, that is why there are so many events. But in the state of absolute reality, where the Supreme Consciousness alone exists as itself, in itself, by itself, then there are no events. There are no beginnings, there are no endings. Even when there is this so-called creation, the backdrop of this creation, called as the substratum of the creation, called as the Supreme Consciousness, that very backdrop is silent, still and undisturbed. by the movie of creation that goes on taking this very backdrop as the support, as the substratum. Because the movie is going on, nothing goes on in the substratum. For the movie to appear, the screen is necessary. But in the screen, nothing happens. In the substratum, nothing begins, nothing ends. Nothing moves, nothing changes. So that very backdrop is always silent, still and undisturbed. That is what is our reality. Our reality is that, our context is that, and not the content. Our reality is not the content. Our reality is not the superimposed. Our reality is the substratum. Our reality is the adhisthana, not the adhyastha. So what is real actually, which we can call as our reality, is that very substratum, which is absolute reality, where there are no events, where there is nothing that happens. But what about our perception? In truth, everything belongs to one true self. Everything is connected with that one self. So, that oneness of life appears to our perception, which is our limited point of view, as multitudinous, as many, multifarious. Nanatva, so many. To our perception, that oneness of life appears as continuously appearing nanatva. And what makes this appearance of world so real is the projecting radiance of the self. The projecting radiance of the self makes this worldly phenomena appear so real. Even in a movie hall, from the projector, the projecting light, the radiance of that projector, the beam of light, that only makes everything appear so real. Where we forget ourselves, we identify, we undergo emotions, so on and so forth in a movie hall. That beam, but nobody looks at that beam. Similarly, that radiance of light of the self makes the world appear so real. The movie itself has no intrinsic reality. Everybody knows this, including the producer, including the director, actors, everybody knows. The movie in itself has no intrinsic reality. It is all fabricated. Everybody knows. But it looks so real. And then when we see, we even attribute, what a lively action. What a way he lived in that action, in that role. Because everybody knows, but still we identify. But still we are lost in it. But still there are so many stakes on that fabricated thing also. So many real lives are connected with that fabricated thing. That is how there is no intrinsic reality even in this appearance of the worldly phenomenon. What is that which is really real in everything that appears? That is only one thing. That is the subjective presence of the self. The sense of realness lies totally only within the consciousness that is subject, that is subjectivity. That alone has that realness. All that appears in it borrows that realness from that subjectivity. And that subjectivity is divinity. And beyond that subjectivity, no worlds exist. And that subjectivity is called as God. Nothing can be known in this world. Nothing can be experienced in this world without that subjectivity which is called as God. Even we cannot know ourselves without that presence of God, which is subjectivity. And existence as subjectivity is complete, total and whole. And this very existence is very basis of all joy, all happiness. The basis of all joy and all happiness is subjective, and that is subjectivity. The one who has understood this, the one who has realized this, that subjectivity is the source of all joy, all happiness, and all real sense of reality is only in subjectivity. Why that person will chase the illusory worldly phenomena? Even when the person sees the worldly phenomena, he knows for sure within himself that the reality is only the subjective substratum which is divine. Everything else other than the divinity is only a fabricated false appearance. Taking the support of reality, it just appears. And that subjectivity which is the source of all joy and bliss, that is the source of existence of the infinite I, the endless, all-pervading, ever-existing I. That I, the source of that I is the subjectivity, is that divinity. And that is what is eternal self. That is what we are seeing, nature of eternal self, the nature of eternal consciousness. Only because of the appearance, that very nature of eternal consciousness, eternal self, we are not able to recognize, we are not able to see. Just because we are not able to see, it doesn't mean that that nature of eternal self is actually engulfed by something. It is only that our vision is not clear, not capable enough to perceive that nature of eternal self. Same thing is said by Hastamalaka in the 10th sloka. Ghanaschanna drishtir Ghanaschanna markam Yadha nishprabam Manyate chati mudaha Tada baddhavad bhati Yo mudha drushte Sanityopalabdhihi Swarupohamatma Ghanaschanna drishtir Ghanaschanna markam Yadha nishprabam Manyate chati mudaha Tada baddhavad bhati Yo mudha drushte Sanityopalabdhihi Swarupohamatma Sanityopalabdhihi Swarupohamatma Yadha cha atimudaha Ghanaschanna drishtihi. Just as very ignorant person whose vision is covered by clouds. His vision is covered by clouds. Ghanachanna markam nishprabam manyate. Whose vision is covered by clouds, because he is an ignorant person, thinks that the sun is covered by clouds. Not only that, he thinks that sun is covered by clouds. Nishprabam manyate. He thinks that sun has lost brilliance. Sun's brilliance is gone. Sun is no more brilliant because it is covered. Yaha muda drishte tadha yaha muda drishte baddhavad bhati. In the same way, that Atman which appears to be bound to a person with a deluded vision. Atman also appears to be bound to the person who has got a deluded vision. And that Atma, which is of the nature of eternal consciousness, I am. A very ignorant person, not a knowledgeable person, whose vision is obstructed by clouds, very confidently decides in oneself that sun is covered by clouds and there is no more brilliance. Just as the clouds have covered the sun, similarly the avidya covers the subjective reality. Because avidya, which is ignorance, covers our real nature, instead of knowing what our real nature is, which is the source of all joy and bliss, which gives reality to all that appears, what we do is we identify with body, mind, sense organs, etc. So then what happens? Because of that very identification, the ever free Atman we get into bondage. But in truth, that reality is ever free from bondage. Even when you and I think that we are suffering, but in truth, our nature is ever blissful Brahman. When can we realize that? Only when we gain the real knowledge, we can realize that. The rope was always there. Only that superimposed snake, which was not there, took the support of the rope and it appeared. But when that appearance is removed by knowledge, new rope will not appear. The rope which is already there, that will be there. We will start perceiving it. But because of the false appearance, due to the ignorance or avidya and the projecting power of the Maya, not only the veiling power, not only the Avarana Shakti, but also because of the Vikshepa Shakti of the Maya, so much of projection is there going on. So, there is foolishness inside this ignorant person also, and that person thinks, when that vision is covered by clouds, the sun is covered. But actually, if you look at how far is the sun from the clouds, can the clouds go near the sun? Can the clouds ever dare enough to think of approaching the sun? The moment the clouds approach the sun, they can't survive only because of the heat. And sun is so big, clouds are so small. But it appears, for us it appears in our experience, sun is covered. And sun's light we can't see. And sometimes when these clouds are so dark and thick, we come to believe that sun is gone. Sun has lost its brilliance. Sun never lost the brilliance. If we go above the clouds, sun is ever shining. Sun is always shining. And even another interesting thing is, we see the clouds only because of the light of the sun, which is covered by the clouds. Even the clouds are seen only in the light of the sun, which the clouds have covered. Even the clouds that have covered the sun are visible only in that light. And we also are able to see that clouds only because of that light of the sun. Even when it is covered, that only works. That alone is able to make us see. So similarly, even when that self is covered by avidya, our intellect analyzing in its own limited capacity, that I know this, I don't know this, that ignorance has covered, so I don't know my true nature, that also is known only in the light of the self. Ignorance also, for it to function, it takes support of God only. Avidya also, the adhisthanam for avidya also is Brahman only. Where can avidya stay? Only in God it can stay. There is nowhere else. In Mahavakya Darpanam, Adi Shankaracharya ji in sloka number 308, again citing the same example, he says, Rajjau pratito bhujavo vivekat. बुधैर्यदा रज्जु तदैव गृह्यते विलापनं तज्जगतः तदा अयं प्रत्यदृशो ब्रह्म तया अवधारणम् रज्जौ प्रतीतो भुजगो विवेकात् बुधैर्यदा रज्जु तदै न गृह्यते विलापनं तज्जगतः तदायं प्रत्यग्दृशौ ब्रह्म तयावधारणम् प्रत्यग्दृशौ ब्रह्म तयावधारणम् says due to the error and due to the error based delusion in the dim light, the snake that appears in the rope, because of the dim light, because of the error and error based delusion, the snake is appearing in the rope. But that very rope which is appearing as the snake and that snake which is appearing in the rope, immediately it will vanish when we bring extra light, and with that extra light focus on the rope and recognize the rope as rope. The light is necessary, and the moment we recognize the rope as rope, that snake which is appearing in the rope vanishes. So Adi Shankaracharya ji says, the Jagat, which is the world of seen, which is appearing as real, along with its all kinds of changes that are there, attachments, aversions, likes, dislikes, happiness, misery, so on and so forth that are there, with all different varieties of forms, it is there only because of avidya and because of antardrishti. When we turn our attention inward, because of inward vision, the whole world that appears is understood as mithya, because of the rising knowledge of the substratum. So once we gain that knowledge of the substratum, wherever we go, whatever we see, Brahman alone will appear to us. Nothing else will appear to us. Bhagavan, Sri Krishna says in the Bhagavatam something similar. Baddho mukta iti vyakhya Baddho mukta iti vyakhya Gunato mena vastutaha Gunato mena vastutaha Gunasya maya moolatvat Gunasya maya moolatvat Na me moksho na bandhanam Na me moksho na bandhanam. Bhagavan says that bondage and liberation in this world, baddho mukta iti vyakhya gunato me na vastutaha, they are only because of the gunas of the maya. Maya is trigunatmika, sattva rajas tamo guna. So the bondage and liberation is only because of the gunas. In reality, there is no such thing. Gunasya maya moolatvat. These three gunas have arisen from maya, which is again God's own power. So the three gunas have arisen from maya. It is only because of maya these things arise. Bondage, liberation, bandha, moksha arise. But Bhagavan says, I, who is beyond maya, who is the substratum for maya, in whom maya also appears, for me, na me moksho na bandhanam. For me there is no moksha, there is no bandhanam. Because where is bandhanam and moksha for me? My own maya. For all others it might be. Because as long as they are under the spell of the gunas, because of the maya, Bandha moksha will be there. But in me, but for me, there is no bandha, there is no moksha. So Bhagavan himself says, the one who surrenders unto me completely, totally, believing, trusting that, understanding that Sri Krishna is that substratum, Sri Krishna is that divine subjectivity, to such a person Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, I take that person into me, meaning into that subjective divinity. Then he is transcending that Maya also. Maya can be transcended not by our efforts, only by his grace. His Maya, only he can make us transcend. So that is why Bhagavan Sri Krishna surrendering unto me, completely surrendering unto Bhagavan Sri Krishna, who has no bandha, no moksha. When we surrender unto that subjective divinity, we will also reach that state where there is no bandha, no moksha. It is said, the false play of Maya ends the moment when we fall at the feet of Sri Krishna. Liberation itself gets liberated. Liberation itself gets liberated. The rest itself comes to rest. Nothing else is there. Because in that divine state of subjectivity, divinity alone exists. And then what remains there for a devotee who reaches that state is all-knowing blissfulness. Nothing else but all-knowing blissfulness. Apart from that, everything else is blabbering in ignorance. In one lunatic asylum, one person suddenly started proclaiming that he is George W. Bush, the past president of USA. He started telling, I am Bush, I am Bush. Another person in that lunatic asylum asked him, how do you say this? Then that man said, God told me. God told me. And immediately another person came and said, I didn't tell you. He is playing bigger role. What Bush gish tush? God only. I didn't tell you. So he thinks he is God. So not knowing what they are, they think so many things about themselves and they tell also to others the same thing. More or less, Adi Shankaracharya ji also feels the ignorant people in the world are like that only. They don't know their real identity, and because of the mistaken identity, they think that is their real identity, and they play their roles in the world and create more confusion. One patient went to doctor, a middle-aged person, and said, Doctor, I got a sprained ankle, a twisted knee. Why? What happened? How did this happen? Doctor looked at it and said, yeah, I can treat, but I would like to know how did this happen? Oh, doctor, it all started 25 years ago. Doctor, 25 years ago, one day when I was driving in the village area, there was heavy rain and wind. So I had to stop in a farmhouse. And in order to stop and rest there, and the doctor said, what that has got to do with this? Doctor, that is what is connection. Please wait. And when I had to stop there, so I had to go and seek permission from the owner of that farmhouse, because there was no way to go because of the heavy winds. There was so much of flood, and then the trees were fallen on the roads and all that water. So I could not go. I had to stay back there. And there came out a very beautiful young girl. And she said, my father is out of town. I am the only one here. and I want to stay, I asked. And then she said, okay, you can stay upstairs. No problem, you can go and stay there. But in the evening, she came to me and she asked me, what can I do for you? What can I offer you? 25 years later, today morning, doctor, while I was walking on the roof, I suddenly understood what she meant. What she meant at that time. My God, I missed a beautiful chance. And I forgot where I was walking, I fell off from the roof. That has got connection, 25 years connection. So he was thinking about that incident, what happened 25 years ago. Suddenly he understood that, Hare, I missed a great chance. She came and asked what I can offer. Hare Ram. I fell off. One who has no proper connection or knowledge of one's own reality will get affected by such things, which are dead and gone, which are not alive, which are not really real, which are nowhere living. Memory is gone 25 years ago. Even if we had accepted the offer, that also would have been gone. But still, that has got an effect. The world is like that. The play of Maya is like that. That goes on affecting us as long as we don't gain that knowledge. Once, a doctor at midnight noticed that there is a blockage in his bathroom. Everything is blocked. When he wanted to use it, nothing is functioning. There is a blockage in the pipe. So it is stinking, smelling, foul smell. So they can't use that. So at midnight, 1 hour past midnight, at 1 a.m. or so, he calls the plumber. He called the plumber at 1 a.m. The plumber picked up the phone and said, at this time you call me? And the doctor said, how many times you called me at midnight? You are my patient. You called me at midnight. I gave you suggestions and solutions. You forget all that? Oh, sorry doc. I am sorry. Now tell me what is the problem. Doctor tells the problem. And you know what that plumber said? Doctor, it is simple. Take handful of aspirins. Take handful of aspirins. Flush them. They will clear that block in the pipe. Aspirin clears the block. Flush it and do this every 1 hour till morning 9 o'clock. From now on, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., every 1 hour. And if that blockage still persists, at 10 a.m., call me at my office. The doctor was shocked at his reply. And he tried, and to his shock, aspirin cleared the block. So then he understood not only doctor, but plumbers also prescribe medicines. In ignorant world, solutions can arise from anywhere because the problem is false and unreal. Everything looks like that. Unless and until we gain the true knowledge, the real knowledge. The true knowledge is what we need. That is what is very important. So then, it is said here, after teaching us that we need to understand that what covers us is only avidya, and what is that which is substratum for all this covering is our own subjective self. There may be a probable doubt. If Atman is considered as all-pervasive, it may be attached to everything. Because it is pervading everywhere, it might be attached to everything. And if it is not all-pervasive, then it might be limited in space. Which is correct? A possible, probable doubt. So that probable doubt is answered in the 11th sloka. Samasteshu vastushu అనుస్యూతమేకం సమస్తాని వస్తూని యం న స్పృశంతి వియద్వత్ సదా శుద్ధం అచ్చస్వరూపః స నిత్యోపలబ్ధిః స్వరూపోహమాత్మా సమస్తేషు వస్తుష్వనుస్యూతమేకం సమస్తాని వస్తూని యం న స్పృశంతి వియద్వత్ సదా శుద్ధమచ్చస్వరూపః స నిత్యోపలబ్ధిః స్వరూపోహమాత్మా స నిత్యోపలబ్ధిః స్వరూపోహమాత్మా ఏకం సమస్తేషు వస్తుషు అనుస్యూతం. The one self which pervades each and every object of the world, the one self really pervades each and every object of the world, yam samastani vastuni na sprushanti. Yet nothing can touch it. That Atman, which is one self, which pervades each and every object of the world, yet no object can touch it. Viyadvat sada shuddham achaswarupah. Viyadvat sada shuddham, like the space, it is always pure. Achaswarupam, and of immaculate nature. Immaculate, acham also means immaculate, acham also means immortal. So immaculate nature, spotless nature and immortal nature. So that self which is of the nature of eternal consciousness, I am. So the space is ever pure. It is not touched by impurity of anything it pervades. Wherever it is, there might be so many impure things, but it is never touched by that impurity. Similarly, just as the space is not tainted by the objects that it pervades, the divine self also is never tainted by the defects of attachment and aversion, anger and greed, so on and so forth, of the minds of the living beings which it pervades. It pervades the minds of the living beings. In the minds of the living beings there are so many things. Desire, anger, greed, lust, so many things are there. But it is not touched by any one of these things because it is absolutely pure and absolutely changeless and immortal. Swami Purushottamananda ji, in his book, he refers to couple of things. He says, as the space is not blackened by soot, meaning that black substance which gets formed on the chimneys, the dirt, black substance. Sometimes when because of the too much of cooking and smoke and all near the chimneys, that black substance, thick substance gets formed. So that is called as soot. So just as that space is not blackened by that black substance, Atman is not tarnished by enchantments and fascinations of the mind. The mind gets enchanted. The mind gets fascinated by the worldly things. But the Atman is not blackened, not tarnished, not tainted. Just as the space where this black substance is there, it is not tainted. Similarly, it is not affected. Just as the space is not burnt by fire, the space supports the fire and the fire cannot burn the space. Space is not burned by the fire. Similarly, the self is not burnt by the fire of wrath and anger. The fire of wrath and anger which individuals entertain in their own minds. The self is not burnt. Similarly, just as this self, just as the space is not wet, doesn't become wet by the water that is there in the space, similarly, the self is not going to be untouched by the enjoyments that flow through the minds and intellects which it supports. The mind can melt, the intellect can compromise, the physical body can also melt in that experiences of senses, but the self doesn't get touched by any one of these things. Just as the space supports the clouds and clouds cannot touch the space, the self supports the body in all its enjoyments, in all its experiences, but never gets touched by that very experiences that the body undergoes. So the self is untouched, even though it pervades everywhere. Swamiji goes to say, cloth is made up of threads. Cloth is nothing but threads. Cloth is made up of threads. Cloth is not different from thread, but cloth is not in thread. Cloth is made up of thread. Cloth is not different from thread, but cloth is not in thread. So, even though the Chaitanyam supports everything, everything is in it, everything is supported by it, but it is not going to be affected by whatever is there in it. So, that is always pure, that is ever pure. A person, an elderly person, went to meet a doctor. And the doctor asked, what is the problem? And he said, doctor, will I live to see my 100th birthday? Will I live to see my 100th birthday? Then the doctor asked, looking at him, do you smoke? He said, no. Do you drink? He said, no. Do you gamble? He said, no. Do you have girlfriends? He said, no. Then what is the purpose of seeing 100th birthday? The doctor thinks like that from his angle. But this man says to be satisfied with myself, contented with myself, to revel in myself. I want to see 100th birthday. It was a bouncer for the doctor. He didn't understand what he is saying. But this man meant what he said. He said he wants to see himself satisfied with himself. He is attempting, he is trying to get that absolute contentment. But still something is missing. So he wants at least maybe in the 100th year I can gain absolute contentment in myself. He wants to see that. He is clear in his mind. But doctor thinks, what is the purpose? It depends upon how you view life. From that standpoint of doctor, he is wasting his life. But from his standpoint, he has wasted his life. Now he wants to utilize his life to see that contentment in himself. So, after listening to this beautiful statement, all these verses from Hastamalaka, Acharyaji was so thrilled, Adi Shankaracharyaji. His eyes, Adi Shankaracharyaji's eyes, poured out the bliss of the subjectivity through the eyes. And this was received by Hastamalaka. That loving eyes of Sadguru can uplift even an ignorant person from the low depressed state to a very high confident levels. So, the cool, refreshing, pleasant peace was experienced by Hastamalaka, even though he was in that state. But when it is from the Sadguru, he experienced a unique, cool, refreshing peace through the looks of Sadguru. So, the truth here is, Viyadvat sada suddham accha swarupam. Accha rupam means, the meaning is swachha rupam. Accha means swachha. Pure. Accha rupam means swachha rupam, pure form. Meaning, vikara rahita. Meaning, no modifications are there in it. No changes are there in it. Meaning, Amruta Swarupa. So Acha Rupam is Swacha Rupam is Vikara Rahitam is equal to Amruta Swarupam. Nectarine immortal nature. So, Viyadvad Sada Shuddham Achaswarupam. When he says that, Achaswarupam means pure Swarupam. Very pure. Amruta Swarupam. So that is what is our true nature. So, Hastamalaka concludes the Hastamalakam with the next sloka. But some say here that because Acharya was so thrilled, the concluding sloka belongs to Acharya. Some say. So let us accept both. What does it matter? One kid was taken by mother to the dentist. The mother went and told to the assistant there that she wants to meet the chief dentist and she is in a hurry and it is an urgent issue. But that assistant told there are already 4 people waiting. No, tell them. And finally he told them, then the chief dentist called the mother along with the boy. And one tooth has to be extracted. And the chief dentist asked the mother to fill the form and then pay the fees and all that. No, I will pay later. No, first to do it. He said $100. It was in US, so $100 for one tooth to pull out. He said, okay. And when he was pulling the tooth, this kid yelled in such a way that even doctor got frightened for a while. And then the assistant came. Once this job was done, the assistant came and whispered something in the doctor's ear. And the doctor said to the mother, now I am charging $500. She said, why? You said only $100 for one tooth, pulling one tooth. Yes, 4 customers were waiting outside. They ran away listening to this yelling of the kid. They ran away, got frightened. So I lost 400. Now you are $500. Not knowing the truth, when somebody undergoes some experience, we identify with that and we feel it will happen to us also. In the world of Maya, things happen like that. Without proper knowledge, we function in such a way that we don't know what is happening also. There was one person who went to a psychiatrist and said, I am in contact with God. Psychiatrist said it is possible. I agree. Because unless he agrees, he will not start telling what is the issue. I am in contact with God. But the thing is, God will switch on the light and switch off the light. That is the only contact he has. That is the only contact he gave me. But I am in contact with God. Every time I go and open the locker to check my jewels, my share certificates, my valuables, my money, every time I open the locker, God switches on the light. And not only that, He plays some miraculous mischief. Suddenly He converts all of them into eatables, vegetables, fruits, various other eatables, chocolates, so on and so forth. And again when I close that, He switches off the light. That is how I am in contact with God. And the doctor asked the psychiatrist, repeat it. And few times when he repeated, he said, that is not locker, that is your refrigerator. Your refrigerator. When you open, the light is on. When you close, the light is off. You are not in contact with God. You are in contact with the refrigerator. And that patient got up and said, I don't get treated with people who don't believe me. And he left. What can you do? He is a knowledgeable person. He is telling what is the reality, but he is not ready to, not prepared to listen. Whatever it is, But Adi Shankaracharya and Hastamalaka are ready, are prepared to teach us whatever it is. Final sloka. Upadhau yada bhedat, upadhau yada bhedata sanmaninam tada bhedata buddhi bhedeshu tepi yadha chandrikanam jale chanchalatvam tadha chanchalatvam tavapiha Vishnu tadha chanchalatvam tavapiha Vishnu upadhau yadha bhedata sanmaninam tada bhedata buddhi bhedeshu tepi yadha chandrikanam jale chanchalatvam tadha chanchalatvam tavapiha Vishnu tadha chanchalatvam tavapiha Vishnu. Hey Vishnu, O Bhagavan Vishnu, yadha sanmaninam upadau bhedata, just as differences are seen in crystals, or just as differences that are seen in crystals are only because of different adjuncts that it has, tadha te api buddhi bhedeshu bhedata. The same way for you also, Bhagavan Vishnu, difference is seen because of difference in intellects. Yadha chandrikanam jale chanchalatvam, just as the moon appears moving when reflected in the moving water, iha tava api chanchalatvam, here also like that is your changeful appearance. Saha aham nitya upalabdhihi swarupo aham atma. So I am of the nature of that ever existing Atman. Says, O Vishnu, O all pervading Lord. We have seen in the first sloka that upakrama upasamhara. First sloka, sa nitya upalabdhihi nitya bodha swarupaha. What is that? There only Adi Shankara said. The last sloka talks about Vishnu, that Vishnu is this nitya upalabdhi nijabodha swarupa. That is why Vishnu means the all pervading supreme consciousness. The nature of eternal consciousness is all pervasiveness. So that is what is Vishnu. So he is telling that Lord, O all-pervading Lord, just as the crystal looks different due to different limiting adjuncts, because whenever a colored cloth is near the crystal even though it is very pure, colorless, because of the presence of a cloth, the color in the crystal also changes. If there is a red cloth, the crystal becomes red. Blue cloth, blue. Yellow cloth, yellow. Like that, the crystal appears with a color even though it has no color. That color is because of the limiting adjunct, because that limiting adjunct is there because of that. So because that color is reflected in the crystal, so the crystal looks as if it has got color. Similarly, here it is said, the differences that are there in the intellect are seen in you and they think that they belong to you. It is only because they are reflected in you. You are pure like the crystal. And also, because the moon, when it is reflected in the moving water, it appears as if it is also moving. So you also appear as if you are undergoing change because of your association with the different intellects. So here, that definition of upadhi also is given by Adi Shankara. Upa samipe adadhati swiyam dharmam iti upadhihi. So meaning a substance which imparts its quality to another thing in contact with it. When anything is in contact with it, it imparts its quality to another thing. That is called as upadhi. The pot, when it is there, the space is there, the pot has got dimensions, it has got properties, it has got limitations, it imparts that to the space inside the pot. So here the cloth which is there, that imparts its qualities to that which is there near it. That is called as an upadi. So, it imparts that color to the crystal. Upa samipe adadhati swiyam dharmam iti upadi. So, by itself the self is not having any differences, not having any movements, not having any changes, not having any changeful appearance, but still because of the upadi which has all these changes, our intellects are full of change, minds are full of change, and there are so many things in it, so many things are there. So because of that, it appears as if this also is undergoing a change. The difference is only because of the upadi. In essence, actually, upadi can never bring any influence upon the supreme reality, the inner self, the real self. That is always untouched by the upadi. So, even though we have all these upadis, in spite of we are having the body as an upadi, mind, intellect, memory, ego as upadis, limiting adjuncts, still in our real nature, we are untouched by all these upadis. It is said on a cloudy night, because of so many clouds are there and they are moving, the moon which is beyond the clouds, which is behind the clouds, appears as if it is moving. The motion of the clouds is attributed to the moon. The moon, even though in comparison with the clouds it is not as fast as it moving in comparison with the clouds, it appears as if it is moving very fast. Similarly, because the clouds of intellect and mind and ego and memory keep on changing, keep on moving, all motion, movement is in it, the self which is behind it appears as if it is moving, even though it is not really moving. There is no real movement. It is also said, the sugarcane in its original form is somewhat blackish and green, blackish or blackish green, hard and tough and rough, hard, rough and blackish green. But the sugar which is the essence of sugarcane is totally different. White, not hard, not rough, totally different. So similarly, the self is devoid of the triplet, knower, knowing and knowledge. Knower, knowledge and knowing. Compared here with blackish green, hard and rough. Knower, knowledge and knowing. But if we go beyond the triplet, just as the sugar is the essence of sugarcane, we come to experience the essence, the joy and the bliss, which is the sweetest nectarine. And further it is said, only fools say that it seems there was a kingdom. In that kingdom, the king suddenly vanished. So, when the ministers were asked, it seems they replied very foolishly that their king drowned in the mirage waters. It's a mirage where there are no waters. They said king drowned in the mirage waters. Gaya. And after 2 days, when the king was seen, when they were asked, oh, he swam and came out of the mirage waters. They justify that also. Once one illusion is accepted to be real, further things, whatever we do with it, are more justified. So it is said, just as that king never fell into the mirage waters, and never there is any need for him to come out, you and I, in reality, we never fall, never have fallen into the avidya. Never have fallen. So actually, in reality, in that deepest core of our existence, which is the subjective divinity, there is no illusion, there is no maya. So from that standpoint, we have never fallen into it. So it is said, Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji, at this time, he could not contain himself and he could only embrace Astamalakacharya because of that beauty of the divinity, of the truth that they have experienced, and then how he rendered all this. Tavapiha Vishnu. O Vishnu here means divisionless. There are no divisions in that Vishnu. All full, movementless, firm, steady Vishnu. But in that Vishnu, the lokam, which is full of change, appears. The changeful lokam appears in you, O Vishnu. But this changeful lokam, the world of changeful appearances where there are movements, it cannot touch the absolute Vishnu Tattva, which is referred here as Vyaptyardhaka Vishnu Shabdam. Vyaptyardhaka Vishnu Shabdam. What it means? The word Vishnu with the meaning of all pervasiveness, differencelessness, non-duality, changelessness, movementlessness, all fullness and non-difference with Brahman. It indicates these things. All pervasiveness, Vishnu, differencelessness, non-duality, changelessness, movementlessness, all fullness and non-difference from Brahman. And that is Aham. And that Aham is what Hastamalaka calls Sanityopalabdhihi Swarupohamatma. Aham Atma. That Aham is this Vishnu. This Vishnu is this Brahman. So then, every day we were chanting these as Shanti mantras, but actually they belong to Mahavakya Darpanam, sloka number 112. Vasudeva Sarvamidam Sarvam Vishnumayam Jagat Brahmamatramidam Sarvam Sarvam Brahmaiva Sakalam Jagat. Vasudevaha Sarvam Idam. All this, whatever we see, whatever we know, whatever we experience, whatever we interact with, all this is Vasudeva. The non-difference not only of that supreme reality with the Jiva, with the Atma and Brahman, but even in these heights, it is taught even Jagat is not different from Vishnu. Vasudeva Sarvamidam. Vasudeva is everything. Sarvam Vishnumayam Jagat. Entire Jagat is Vishnu Swarupam. The whole world is Vishnu Swarupam. In these states of highest realization, nothing else is there. Everything is seen as the all-pervading Vishnu. The entire Jagat is Vasudeva, world is Vasudeva, and the entire world is Vishnu Swarupam, is of the nature of Vishnu. And Brahma Matramidam Sarvam, Sarvam Brahmaiva Sakalam Jagat, all this entirely is Parabrahman, and entire Jagat is Brahman. All this is God. Everything that exists is divine. Now here, Mahavakya Darpanam, Adi Shankara says, Jagat is Vishnu, Vishnu is Jagat, and Jagat is Brahman. Brahman is Jagat. We can't escape from Brahman now. Even Jagat is Brahman. Bhutani Vishnurityadya Shatakodha Sahasrashaha Vishwasya Brahma Bhinnatve Jayanti Shrutayopicha. Bhutani Vishnurityadya Shatakodha Sahasrashaha. Thousands of Shruti statements are confirming this, that all beings are Vishnu. All beings are Vishnu. Scriptures are confirming this, thousands of scriptures. Shatakodha Sahasrashaha. Hundreds and thousands of scriptures are confirming this. All the beings are Vishnu. Vishwasya Brahma Abhinnatve. The Vishwam is not different from Vishnu or Brahman. They are proving the non-difference of Jagat and Brahman. Glory to all such scriptures who bring this knowledge down to our common experience of the world, that world also is Brahman. If with this understanding we experience the world, then every experience will take us only to Brahman. Everywhere, whatever beautiful we see, whatever talented we see, whatever glorious we see, whatever fascinating we see, whatever enchanting we see, whatever attracting we see, if we attribute it to Vishnu, it is the Vishnu's beauty, it is the Vishnu's intelligence, it is the Vishnu's glory, it is the Vishnu's joy content in that object, it is Vishnu's glow in that object, it is the Vishnu who helped me, it is the Vishnu who supported, it is the Vishnu who treated me, it is the Vishnu who tested me. Always Vishnu, 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 Vishnu. Where will mind go? To Vishnu only. Everywhere, everybody doing, criticizing or praising, helping or deceiving, Vishnu. Because Brahman is Vishnu, Jagat is Vishnu. Everywhere we attribute that Vishnu, then naturally we land up in Vishnu Tattvam, and that Vishnu Tattvam is Brahma Tattvam. And from that standpoint, Brahman is Jagat. There is no difference. Even Jagat, 5 elements, if you go deeply, 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 it goes to Saguna Brahma, then it goes to Nirguna Brahma. Then finally what? Brahman only. So Jagat also is Brahman. The one who knows this. Can there be anything else other than Brahman for him? So how he lives, how he experiences, how he functions, what he does, what he experiences, what he enjoys, how he enjoys, whatever he enjoys. Adi Shankaracharya ji, 266, 267 slokas in Mahavakya Darpanam. Esha vidvan atmaratihi, Esha vidvan atmaratihi, Atma jyotihi asheshadrik, Atma jyotihi asheshadrik, Atma krida Atma mithuna, Atma krida Atma mithuna, Atmananda sada munihi, Atmananda sada munihi, Atma trupta Atma sukha, Atma trupta Atma sukha, Atma ramo viniskriyaha, Atma ramo viniskriyaha, Jivanneva vimuktas san, Jivanneva vimuktas san, Khelati ananda varidhau, Khelati ananda varidhau. The most beautiful explanation of that learned, wise Noah, Esha Vidwan. Who is this Vidwan? Not an ordinary Vidwan, not a poet, not a scholar, not a research scholar, not a person who has got lot of degrees to the credit, not a doctorate, but this Vidwan is learned wise Noah who is established firmly in Brahman through Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, listening, reflecting, contemplative, meditating, who through all this has become firmly rooted in Brahman, such a person, Esha Vidwan Atmaratihi. He has no liking, no interest in any objects other than Brahman. Even the objects he sees as Brahman only. Because the object is Brahman, Jagat is Brahman. So he has no interest in the objects. So what he does is, Esha Vidwan Atmaratihi. He is only delighting in, enjoying the pleasure in Atma. He is also enjoying pleasure. He is not stone like, dead fellow, feeling bored, not to do what is to be done. Earlier I was better. At least objects were there to chase and senses were there to experience. Now I became Brahman. Nothing is there. All illusory world went away. Now I am Brahman. Don't know what to do. Feeling bored. You come and give company. Let us have some fun. Nothing like that. He also has pleasure. He also has joy. He also has delight. What? He is delighting in, enjoying pleasure in Atma. Esha Vidwan Atmaratihi Atma Jyotihi Asesha Drika. He is of the form of the light of Atman. How he is enjoying, taking delight, enjoying the pleasure in Atma, he is of the form of light of Atman. Asesha Drika. He is the seer, he is the witness of all that exists. He is that seer. Atma Krida, Atma Mithuna. He also plays, he also sports in Atman. Atma Krida, Atma Mithuna. He also pairs, he also couples, he also unites. He pairs, he couples, he unites with Atman. Atma Mithuna. Atma Krida, Atma Mithuna. Atmananda Sada Munihi. He is always in the bliss of the Atman. And such a Mananashilavan, such a pure-minded person who has transcended all these limitations he is. Atma Trupta, Atma Sukha. He is satisfied in Atman, contented in Atman, fulfilled in Atman. Atma Trupta, Atma Sukha. He is experiencing never-ending happiness of Atman. Never-ending. All our other happinesses, ending happinesses. Never-ending happiness of Atman. Atma Ramo Vinishkriyaha. He rejoices in Atman. Atma Ramo Vinishkriyaha. He is actionless. Where is the need for anybody to do any action? Even in the worldly happiness, if we are given an opportunity to experience that happiness which we are seeking, craving for since years, and suddenly we get that opportunity to experience that happiness, in the moment of experience of happiness, we cannot think of anything else except that happiness. But after that happiness ends, we come out and then we think of so many things of re-experiencing that happiness. But here, this is unending happiness. So, he is experiencing that, rejoicing in that Atma, continuously immersing in that Atma, playing with that Atma, sporting with that Atma, delighting in that Atma, experiencing pleasure in that Atma, pairing with that Atma, coupling with that Atma, uniting with that Atma, everything with that Atma. And with that Atma, when he is doing, in that Atma, there is no action necessary. Where is the need for any action for such an individual? Actions we need because we want to gain happiness. Actions we need because we want to get rid of misery. Actions we need because we want to get rid of something which is non-conducive to us. We want to gain something which is conducive to us. That is why we need actions. And here actions are not necessary. Atma Ramo Vinishkriyaha Jivanneva Vimuktasan. He is liberated person while living. Jivan Muktaha. That a person is Jivan Mukta while living. And Khelati Ananda Varidho. He is playing. What IPL playing you are talking about? He is playing. It is never-ending, infinite Premier League. Infinite Paramatma League, that is. Never ending. This is Khelati. He is also playing. He is also enjoying. He is also having fun. Khelati Ananda Varidau. In the ocean of Ananda, inexhaustible ocean of Ananda, he is playing. What a beautiful explanation of the culmination of Astamalakiyam. Only the one who experiences can say this. These words cannot be imagined, nor a poetry to create. It is only out of experience of Adi Shankara, it just flowed out. This is how many things. Atma Rati, Atma Jyoti, Atma Krida, Atma Mithuna, Atma Nanda, Atma Trupta, Atma Sukha, Atma Rama. How many things? Everything in the Atman. For us, everywhere we can substitute Atma and say Anatma. Anatma Ratihi, Anatma Jyoti, Anatma Krida, Anatma Mithuna, Anatma Ananda. Ours is like that. That Ana has to be removed. And then Atman remains. That can be removed only by the knowledge. The knowledge which is given to us by Hastamalaka and commented upon and further strengthened and given to us as a blessing by Adi Shankaracharya. Without their blessings, without the blessings of Adi Shankaracharya ji, never ever we can imagine that we can go to Mahavakya Darpanam and take it as a supportive text and go to Shankaravashya, and without the blessings of his Shishya Hastamalaka and the entire Guru Parampara, we cannot think of doing this text, which is always talking of Brahman. And all the people who have survived these 9 days, you are nothing short of Brahman. Because all the while Brahman, nothing else but Brahman. Still you survived. So my heartfelt thanks to all of you for being here and making this satsang happen. Such a nice thing it was to contemplate, to meditate, to reflect, to think about all this. And then together we reflected and contemplated. It's such a wonderful thing that if there are some people like this, attempting to gain this, how different the society becomes. They are so contented, they are so fulfilled, they are so full. And with that mind which is contacting that divinity, they apply their services, they apply themselves in the world becomes a better place to live in. So we offer our grateful thanks to Paramapujya Gurudev, his Guru Taponji Maharaj, Adi Shankaracharya ji, and the entire Guru Parampara for blessing us with these beautiful texts and uplifting our ordinary level of mind and consciousness and taking us to a higher levels and higher dimensions of consciousness. We are ever grateful to them and ever grateful to Parameshwara and Bhagavan Vishnu, who is the main subjective divine essence of this scripture, of this beautiful text. So we offer our prostrations to God, to the Gurus, and we also thank all the people who came here, Chinmaya Dhyana Nilayam management, Chinmaya Seva Trust, Chinmaya Mission, all the Sevaks, directly, indirectly who helped us, without whom all these arrangements are not possible. So we invoke the blessings of Bhagavan and the entire Guru Parampara upon all, and we will try to contemplate upon few points. That is why after this Shanti Mantra and Arati, you will be given this essence of all these 9 days talks in the form of contemplative points. Around 41 contemplative points are there. Few points if we can contemplate each day, 5 minutes time, then mind will be immediately uplifted to a different level because of this knowledge that is already gained, because you have already heard in these satsangs. So may we all find that uplifting assistance and support from this contemplation upon these points. And in addition to that, please also collect all kinds of prasada that is available, and we chant the Shanti Mantra now. And I thank all those, if I have forgotten any names, them also, everybody is thanked, and we invoke divine blessings on everyone. वासुदेवः सर्वमिदं सर्वं विष्णुमयं जगत् ब्रह्ममात्रमिदं सर्वं सर्वं ब्रह्मैव सकलं जगत् भूतानि विष्णुरित्याद्या शतकोऽधसहस्रशः विश्वस्य ब्रह्मा भिन्नत्वे जयन्ति श्रुतयोऽपि च। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ।